Bill Buckner covering him, being there at Shea Stadium for Game 6 of that World Series, going into the locker room to interview Bill Buckner after the error. The ball went through his legs that cost the Red Sox that Game 6. And it didn't cost them the World Series because there was a Game 7, and they were leading in Game 7. But that was the focal point. Bill Buckner, the ball went through his legs. And having followed baseball, knowing what Bill Buckner was when he was with the Dodgers and with the Cubs, he was a professional hitter. He was a great player. He had injuries. Had he not had injuries with bad knees, he would have had 3,000 hits in his career. But Bill Buckner passes away over the weekend, and also known as the guy who had, I think it's even in Urban Dictionary. I think it's under, a Buckner where the ball goes through your legs. And it's a shame because Bill Buckner should be remembered for more than just a ball going through his legs, but he's not going to be. And I did get to spend some time with Buck. Before he moved to Idaho, he said, I have to move because they're making it so tough on my son. He had 2 daughters and a son, and they were making it so tough on him in school that he moved to Idaho. And I stayed in touch with him on and off. He was a gruff guy, but he was a ball player. But he did come back to Boston the next year. After the ball went through his legs, they lost the World Series. He was there for half the season. But Bill Buckner should be remembered for more than just that. He won't be, but hopefully if I can illuminate or open some eyes and ears about just how good a ball player he was. He had 2,700 hits. He never struck out. He rarely struck out. And he was a really good athlete, a great athlete. And then knee injuries, and he ended up playing first base. He shouldn't have been out there playing first base at Shea Stadium that night, not with his knees. If he caught the ball on the dribbler by Mookie Wilson, they wouldn't have gotten Mookie at first base because the pitcher, Bob Stanley, would not have gotten over there in time, and Buckner would not have gotten him. That doesn't mean that they still wouldn't have won the game, but the ball went through his legs down the right field line, and the Mets ended up winning. But when you look at what Buckner was able to do, his manager, John McNamara, wanted him on the field as they were going to win the World Series. So it was a tribute to Buckner that he had been, in the majors for, almost 20 years, and they were going to have him out there, and he shouldn't have been out there. And they rally, and the ball went through his legs. And I remember going into that locker room, and I've said this about a few players in history. One is Mitch Williams when he gave up the home run to Joe Carter. Sat there and answered every single question, giving up the home run that won the World Series. Mitch did not shy away. He sat there and answered every question. And the other one is Bill Buckner. Buckner answered every question. They would be the same question by a different wave of reporters, but Buckner sat there and answered every question. And there are a lot of times when we look at our athletes and we look at them and go, man, is that heroic. Boy, they were unbelievable under pressure. What Buckner did that day and Mitch Williams did that day, I'll never forget in all the things that I've covered where you're as low as you could possibly be. Mitch Williams gave up the home run to Joe Carter that won the World Series. Buckner had the ball go through his legs. They lost Game 6. They eventually lost Game 7. But to sit there and answer the questions and not say, hey, I'm not going to answer anymore. I've answered that already. I'm tired of answering that. They stood in there and answered every single question. As great as they were in their careers, those are the things that stand out. That's what stands out to me about Bill Buckner. And to be able to visit with him in the offseason a couple years after that, and I found that he had a great sense of humor. But that pain was never going to go away. But I had him on 2004, after the Red Sox won the World Series, we called him. We were in Fenway. I was covering the World Series for the mothership, and I called Bill Buckner, and Paulie said, look, let me talk to him. And he said to Bill Buckner, if you do the interview, you don't have to do any other interviews. We'll give this interview to everybody, every media outlet that wants it, but you should do this. And he said, I didn't win the World Series. This doesn't make me feel any better. I'm happy for Boston and happy for the fans. Because I lost my World Series. And he was finally welcomed back. And it was a wonderful moment. And I even talked to him after that. And it still didn't, it didn't smooth over anything in his mind. He was a baseball player. He lost the game. And that's what bothered him. He didn't care about your applause. He wanted you to treat him with respect, and he didn't get that respect in Boston. Not after that, because he moved because his son was being bullied, and he said, I made the right decision for my family. So Billy Buckner, rest in peace.
For more Dan Patrick Show, tune into Audience Channel 239 on DirecTV. Stream for free on BR Live or download the Dan Patrick Show app.